Welcome to the Teaching Science Podcast.
These episodes are recorded on Mondays at 4 p.m. Eastern in our virtual Teachers Lounge.
If you would like to join us on a Monday to chat about a topic related to science education, go to the calendar in our show description to get the link for the week.
You can listen to the recorded discussions as a podcast from any major podcast provider or on the Superheroes of Science YouTube channel. All right, so for the lounge this week, Sarah,
Stephen,
we decided we wanted to talk about, because it's right now we're recording, it's about the end of the year.
Right.
A lot of our teachers that we're working with and living with are wrapping things up, doing those chaotic, absolutely hectic things at the end of the year.
Yes.
But here soon, we're going to have those done, and we're going to stop and be thinking about next year.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully everybody takes a little bit of a mental break and thinks about like nothing
Mm-hmm.
for a while, but those thoughts are going to come up. And so it's something we have told teachers for years is think about like the 10% rule for your year. Don't change more than 10% in a given year. Now I realize this past year and a half has just been crazy, and Lord knows what's happened, let alone what we're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say, think about now, before you shut your brain down, what, maybe make a list. What worked really well this year?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe why did it work really well? Because some years you do a lesson, like I'm thinking pick any lesson, you do it and then you do it again next year, and all of a sudden it worked a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe jot down what you did so you remember, and then pick things that did not work. And let's pick those bottom few things.
Mm-hmm.
Those are things that we want to focus on when we get back to start focusing. But if we don't write them down now, we're not going to remember later necessarily until it's time for that. Then, oh yeah, I have this. I'm like, oh wait, I don't think it worked too well, but it'll be too late then.
Yeah.
You're stuck with it.
Yeah.
Most of the time. You can change the last minute. It's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
But you never know when they're going to call a convo or something, and it pushes you back and everything.
Brother.
I like the eye roll on that one.
That happens a lot.
But so it's 10% is what we've told people for years. Think about changing 10% of your thing.
Yeah, that would have been so helpful to hear. There were years that I should have probably heard that advice and I didn't. And I went really kind of all in, like, I'm changing this whole first semester because I just have all these ideas. And I get in and I start changing some things, and then I kind of get burned out because it's trying to change too much. And then I just lose my motivation because it's summer. So I like the 10%. I think that's a smart, safe way to kind of direct yourself and plan your time.
But that's just what we've been telling people for years, is think about the 10% rule.
Yeah.
And stick with that. Don't go over that in a given year. Okay, fine. If you've been through the rise or whatever, and the principal's like change everything or you're fired, then maybe you'll find a new job.
Ask for help.
There you go. But it's the big thing is, don't, even when we do these projects on the pedagogical workshops that we do, we did these very intensive inquiry-based science workshops, and it's very new to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
It was very new, and we told them, yes, this works. It works. It really helps kids across the curriculum, mm-hmm. not just science, but in all the subjects. It really helps them out. We really want to give you give us a try. We have you for 2 weeks in the summer,
mm-hmm.
And there were stipends involved, and then we had them, different times through the semester, and we were in the classroom once a month. But we told them then even, but do not change more than 10% this year. Don't do it. Yes, we're glad you're excited, but let's slow it down a little bit,
right?
And then because it gets overwhelming. Now, if you're like brand new, first year or two, you're changing everything every week. So that's hard to plan.
That is. What would 10% look like then? Let's say you got 180 days in your school year.
Yeah. So you're looking at 18, right?
18 of your days.
Yeah.
Instructional days.
Exactly.
Or test days.
You can't change your test days.
Well, I mean, test assessments I would give.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Right. No, you
Oh.
can't change the, yeah.
In our, and we've been told, like at our school too, like fine tune a subject area. So if we have something new in math, then that's what we're going to focus our attention on for this year. We just adopted conscious discipline as one of our SEL supports, and we've done a book study this year, but we've really only covered just a part of the book. And then the teachers know that they can pick and choose things that they're interested in, get comfortable with it, and then you're ready to add some more. But if we just said, here, you got to do all of this brand new, you wouldn't get buy-in, number one, and number two, you would be so overwhelmed you would just put the book back on the shelf and never get it back out.
Right. Oh, wow.
That's a
Yeah,
good way of
that's-
doing it. Just
yeah.
doing part of it and doing. You introduced parts of it throughout the year, right?
Conscious discipline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just kind of spread it out, and so you didn't overwhelm people.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that.
I do too.
I like that. I think that's mad respect to whatever administrator was okay with that, because it's I know sometimes administrators, people too, they get excited. Oh, this appears to really work. All right, let's drop everything, do this. But they don't mean to. They're people too. They get excited just like the rest of us, but they also have to remember, well, it's too much. It's too much.
I really like that you would have an action that would come out of a book study. I think that's, it seems intuitive, like this is something that would happen, but I think that I know of book studies that happen with what seems like no follow-up after.
Yeah. Oh, those are the worst. Like,
yeah. Why are we doing
those are the worst. And then I second guessing why am I doing this? Like what's the purpose behind it? So yeah, I think, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No.
So I think our administrators have done a fantastic job with that this year, because of that, knowing that you can only digest so much on top of everything else you're already doing. So let's take it piece by piece, and then we're going to pick books that actually have a purpose behind them, and not just, I just saw this on Amazon, it looks really great, or I picked it up at a conference, or something like that. Like there's a point to it.
Yeah.
This time, no, sometimes not so much, but this time, yeah.
Yeah, historically, it's not necessarily been the norm, but that's I think it's important. But like I said, I think it's important that right now, for the things that we want to change next year in what we're teaching, we stop and write it down, because right now is when everything's fresh in our mind. Right before school, you're not going to do it. You won't change. You'll just be prepping stuff. You might change one thing or something, but you're not going to change the things you need to change.
Well, and I think identifying now could even kind of help you schedule, because you do have a couple of months now that, yes, it's your time. And yes, you need this time to recover and, relax.
But do you know a single teacher that doesn't look through things throughout the summer here and there? Yeah. Okay. Well, all right. We all know that a couple of teachers, but most teachers, let me rephrase that. Most teachers, the vast majority of teachers,
and if
we're working year round.
And if that can help structure the time that you are spending, I think then it's very worthwhile, because now I know I'm going into, okay, this week I'm going to spend 3 hours, and I know what it is. And it's not just 3 hours where I'm not sure what I'm going to do. It's directed, and I have that goal identified.
And I would even add to that just a little bit. One of my good friends is a first year teacher. This is her first year in the classroom. And she kept a notebook, and all year long said, this unit, I want to change this, or beginning of the year, I want to change this. So she kind of started that from the get-go.
That's impressive.
Which is brilliant, because so many times I think in the moment, oh, I want to change that for next year, or I want to try that, or I want to do this, and then summer comes, I am like, woohoo! And you just kind of forget what you're going to do, and whatever's the last thing that you've done is what you're looking at, when it's really maybe something back in the fall is something that you want to focus your 10% on.
That's some impressive organization skills right there.
Yeah.
Definitely. And
That
that's
would
what a
be-
smart idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that'd be my weakness. I mean, straight out, wow, being able to remember to log out and stuff and do
Mhm.
that. That's just something that it would be a weakness for me. Would be. Uh,
And I
maybe
think anytime you can have find somebody else who's also working on similar things, that kind of keeps the ideas fresh and the enthusiasm for wanting to fix or change or tweak or implement something 10% of something new,
Yeah.
that's where I get my excitement from, because right now I'm dragging butt pretty hard, because it's the end of the school year and the kids are crazy, and I'm not done and they're done, and it's all of it. But knowing that I have her, sitting there with notes, and she's excited about maybe tweaking some things and changing some things up, then I'm like, oh yeah, I am too. Like
Yeah.
finding somebody else to collaborate with is kind of beneficial.
Oh, definitely.
I like that. Yeah, that's something I never thought of suggesting. But yeah,
Mhm.
it always makes it easier when you're working with somebody. Just darn
And I,
near everything.
and I would say, I know everybody's summers are valuable and your time is valuable, but I know last summer we did we called it writing club. We got together when we scheduled a day. It was every Tuesday from 9 to noon or 9 to 2 or 9 to whatever, like 9 to 10 or at somebody's house. We couldn't go to the school this summer because of COVID, but if you didn't want to offer your house up, you could do it on Zoom or you could do it at somebody's house, but we scheduled that time to work on those things, and we created the writing units that way, and it was nice. We kind of gave me something to look forward to, but I'm like, oh, I get to see my buddy across the hall today. Tuesday's my day, instead of being kind of, oh my gosh, not wanting to think about school. So
Well, and that's so great, especially if you're with, your teaching friends anyway, and then like you said, you're holding each other accountable for that
right.
time, and it's a scheduled time, so you're kind of mentally prepared to show
Mhm.
up and get it done. Yeah, because that can be, if you don't have that on your calendar, it's too
Right.
easy. I know it's too
Yeah.
easy for the weeks to
To
pass,
go
and
away, yeah.
it
And
starts next week.
I definitely, this summer I'm hoping to, since we had the chance to teach the writing units, and there are a lot of things that we'd like to tweak or change or adapt, and I'm hoping to be able to do the same thing and say, whoever would like to be involved in the editing process, and then see if we can get it on everybody's calendar, and we try to stick to it as much as possible, and then go from there.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I like
Mhm.
that. Because yeah, that's with anything though. I mean, if you start an exercise thing, if you have someone else you're doing it with to help hold you accountable, you're more likely to follow through with it.
Mhm.
I mean, it seems like that's with anything, and
Mhm.
so it makes sense that it would help you with this too.
Yeah.
With planning, and it's nice to have people to bounce ideas off of.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so yeah, and I mean the thing is, I mean, maybe you're a small school and you're the only grade level teacher or something
Mhm.
like that, but there are lots of groups.
Mhm.
I mean, hit a social media. I know I said the terrible word, but and put out there saying, hey, would anyone like to get together on Tuesdays at 9
Mhm.
on Zoom and brainstorm ways
Mhm.
we could do this or that, and I think it'd be pretty easy to get a group of people together
Mhm.
Mhm.
just to of your grade level and maybe from your area. But so even if you were in a small place and didn't have no people, other teachers at that level very well, I think that would help. That would definitely help me.
Oh yeah, I think that'd be very valuable. And like Amy, like you said, that maybe you're tired and
Mhm.
kind of ready to beat up, but then to hear their fresh take on something, or like vice versa, maybe you're real
Right.
excited and they're kind of like, oh, I'm excited. And so you can help
Right.
motivate each other, and
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
it's good.
And another piece of advice I would give, if you choose to do something like that, is to make it fun but as business-like as possible, because it's easy to get together and then you wasted 6 hours on like trash talk or something,
Yeah.
and instead, we really tried to keep each other accountable. Like, okay, we have to get this. This is our goal for today. We want to work on this piece of the writing units. We're going to get one complete, one finished, or whatever, or we're going to look for books, stacks of books that we're going to include in the unit, or that kind of thing, so that we kept ourselves somewhat accountable. And then when that was over, that task was over, then we could either choose to go to lunch, or we could hit the next unit, or like whatever we felt like doing at that point.
Yeah.
So business like, but fun.
That's why you do it on Taco Tuesday, not Margarita Monday, right?
Yeah, all right, whatever. Whatever floats your boat. Might have some better and more interesting writing units if we did it on Margarita Monday.
I think it could be fun for everyone. Yeah.
We all love writing. This is great.
Just saying. Well, I think that's but it's a hard thing to do right now. You just want to survive. You're in survival mode these last few weeks, and
but you gotta take care of your fruits yourself.
Yes, there it is.
Care of you gotta love who you're gonna be in August. Like, I love myself in August.
Right.
No, I don't know myself yet in August.
Right.
I'm going to do this for myself now.
I've had that same conversation with myself. If I don't do it now, I'm going to be really mad at myself in August if I don't get in there and do X, Y, or Z, or put stuff away at the end of the year. Like, I've been bad about opening cabinets and shove it. Okay, it fits, shut it. Like, lock the cabinet door so it doesn't fall out. And then in fall, it's like, surprise, where did I hide the calendar pieces, or where did I hide all of the Mo Willems books or whatever I'm looking for, and then I can never find anything, and then I'm frustrated, and that's not a good way to start the school year. So, yeah.
And that's another thing. I know, lab cleanup. That's just it's so important to do that, so that you're not faced with that right when you come back in August.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you kind of know, but it's that time you're caring for yourself. Oh, I don't know. It's just a difficult thing to do, but schedule it. And
stick to it. I mean, try. I mean, it's easy to be like, I'd rather go to the pool today, but maybe, and not me. That's not my thing. But,
you went to the pool last summer when I went to work? Wait a minute.
Are you kidding? I don't even own a swimming suit. No, that's not my thing. But we did enjoy some nice food. It started out with just having we're going to work on these writing units. And then it was like, oh, who's going to bring snacks next week? And well, yeah, that's great. And then my friend's daughter was like, well, I'll make fried pickles. We're like, that's great. So we had it was fantastic. We had a great time. The time it was over. And then I was sad that they were over, I'm like, oh, darn, we finished the last writing unit, like, now what are we going to do? Like, I missed it. Because it was it was a good time, and they were excited about it, and I was excited about it, and it was fun.
I don't think we're quite in a post-COVID era yet, but it's hopefully at the tail end of the COVID. I think that right there is one of the most important things. What you mentioned is finding a way to find a group to have something in common to be social with. I think that that's how people prevent depression, and that's how you minimize anxiety going back.
Well, is that you're finding your community? It's an important. We're social beings. We need that social interaction, and we could definitely feed off of that positive energy.
But I think, like you said, you have to make a plan each time. Otherwise, the positive energy won't show up.
Right.
It'll become a gripe session and stuff like that. So I think you have to have an action plan to start with.
Yeah.
I think that was smart.
And you have to be willing to be the heavy sometimes, like, luckily the three of us that got together for the writing units were pretty much there because we wanted to be there, and like, we dedicated our time to it, and we enjoyed each other's company and blah blah blah, and we were all excited about the content. But you have to be willing to be that person that's like, if things get off task too far, then you're like, hey guys, like, let's talk about that later, or trying to get it right back on track, just so that the time is not wasted, because that's nothing I hate worse than attending something like that, and then it's a whole waste of 2 or 3 hours of your time, and you didn't get anywhere, and that's not my jam. So
And hopefully, yeah, hopefully if that's the intent and you're all going there, because that would not
yeah,
be as fun to
that's a bummer.
pull out the Mrs. Nern. Guys, dude, that's just not as fun.
No, you're supposed to. The teacher face is supposed to,
Yeah.
be on
For the
vacation.
kids. Yeah, that's
That's
right.
the
I
only
know.
part of us that gets to go on vacation is
Yeah.
the teacher face.
Yeah.
You get to the grocery store and you've had it. Uh, just saying, it happens. But I like this. I think that's something people need to remember is, that don't now just start thinking you're going to change everything next year. Give yourself a break.
Yeah.
And you will never, ever have a year that everything worked.
Ever.
Ever.
Ever. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's true.
And so it's I understand some lessons might not be as strong as you'd like, but
Mhm.
let's go with the bottom ones first and fix them, and then maybe next year that's those ones that were in the middle this year will be your bottom ones next year because
Mhm.
everything else is that much better. And
Yeah.
so I think don't try to fix it all.
And I
Look,
think it's okay to have lessons that fail because teachers should be if lifelong learners, and so if it does flop, but you still think it has potential. Well, I've had some that flop that I'm like, I am never doing that again. Like that was not on target. That was not
Yeah.
like that was not salvageable, in any way, shape, or form. Or when I reflected on it, I was like, I did that for me. Like that was not for the kids. That was not for their benefit, so that was totally my thing, and it stunk. And so that one I can put to the side and maybe pull out some other time, more appropriate time. But I think if you consider looking at things as when they fail, if you want to use that word, or flop or whatever, but that it's a chance for you to learn, and to grow. And I think teachers are lifelong learners, they should be, and that's part of the process. So don't beat yourself up over that, like that's okay.
There you go.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Yeah. If you're trying to, and the thing, if it doesn't work out or it flops or, whatever you want to call it, it just means you were trying to do
Right.
something to mix it up a little. You weren't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You can't make improvements until you try it once. And then once it's been done, then you can start thinking about it. You have to try.
And we mentioned community. I'll do a quick commercial, the commercial break. We mentioned community there. And if you're on social media, please join our K-12
virtual
Science Teachers Lounge.
Mm-hmm.
If you're on social media, we have that on Facebook. Please join that. If you're not, don't sweat it. If you're having troubles connecting with people, give us a shout. I mean, we will gladly help you out in any way we can. And we happen to know a lot of people. I've been doing this since, Abe Lincoln was the first student I had. And
Wow.
Who was your student?
yeah, he was a bit of a handful, but he's a tall feller. But so it's been here a while.
What color was the dinosaurs?
Which ones? Barney was purple. But I think was Barney purple.
Oh, yeah,
He's
he was.
purple. Okay. But so it's point being, we've been here quite a while. We know a lot of people, and it's hey, and we've talked about doing just that too. Hey, you've talked about, hey, we'll have a chemistry meetup, and things like that. And we talked about in the summer when we were doing our labs. Actually, tomorrow I'm talking to the boss man about trying to get permission that we're doing our middle school workshop, and in June we're going to have a day that we're recording demos and stuff for sixth grade, and one for seventh, one for 8th. And we're like, we want to open up the lab. We want to have some teachers live helping participate and do that. And so we're going to find out how much red tape we have to make it happen in person. So, but still, we would do Zoom days ourselves. We'd throw it out and see how many sixth grade teachers would show up on one just to talk about different subjects, and or go to the Purdue University College of Science K-12 outreach calendar, and you'll find a link to this. and you can hijack one of these.
Absolutely.
We don't
please.
care. And so it's, if you're like, man, I'd really like to talk about, keep it about teaching, otherwise I'll edit you out. Don't do too much editing, but it's that we would. But well, okay, I guess we've talked about movies and everything else too, but yeah, hijack one of these. We can all chat about it, and we're good with that too. But and do us a favor. This is a part of the Pre-University Superheroes of Science, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Watch some of the videos. Give us comments. Hit some likes. Help us out. Help us keep things going, because those things do matter to the people that fund us.
Mhm.
And so do us a favor and help us keep going by kind of helping out, subscribing, and liking them, and check out and share the videos that you do like. And blame Sarah for the ones you don't.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I do.
Send it my way. I'll take all of those comments.
Oh, whatever. You don't get any of those comments. I'm the only one that gets those comments. All you get are creepy dudes hitting on you.
That's not true.
Oh, whatever.
And
Edit.
I just wanted to say too, don't you guys have some virtual conference things still posted, or have you
We
taken those
do.
down?
We do
So,
have, yes.
That's
Yeah.
something that even if you feel like your school year has gone smoothly and you're like, I don't need to really tweak anything, but you still want room to grow and to connect with some new ideas, then checking out those virtual conference kinds of things that are free and you can do from your home in your pajamas or by the pool or wherever you choose to, out in your front yard, wherever you want to do it. So those are nice, and sometimes that's all it takes is to inspire you to think about the 10% that you'd like to fix or change or add
Yeah,
on.
and we have an entire playlist dedicated to, what's that one playlist called? The teacher one.
Oh, professional development in your classroom.
Yeah, or something.
Professional
Something about professional
something.
development.
We got a playlist.
But it's a playlist that is just for a lot of them were literally professional development workshops that we would do.
Mhm.
We just turned them into
Video.
It's called Classroom Edition, PD on your screen. Let's looked it up.
Right.
But some of those are the exact things that we do at professional development.
Yes.
We just turned them into videos so that it was there for everyone all the time.
Yeah.
And I think that's like one of the most underutilized playlists we have, to be honest. It's simply because that's stuff that people pay us good money to come teach.
Yeah.
And we just put it out there. You want to do grant writing stuff. If you're thinking about, and here's the thing that kind of, it's a little bit of a pet peeve. But after a few years, it becomes that way. When we tell people, hey, there's a lot you can do with science, they're like, yeah, if we have funding. I'm like, well, have you written a grant? Well, I don't know how to write grants.
Right.
Well, you know what?
This is your summer to learn how.
That's right.
This
And
is
we
your
put
summer
together
to
a
be a
video
lifelong
that
learner.
walk you through it.
Yeah.
And these are videos that I have received a lot of grants over the years, and it's funded a lot of things that we've done. And now, Sarah, now you're here, you've starting to receive quite a few yourself.
Yep.
And Amy, in your classroom, you've received quite a number of grants over the years to do all kinds of things. And so we put all that knowledge that we have into everything from a checklist to suggestions as a professional development thing, just to help people be able to get grants and do more. And so that stuff's there. Resources are there.
Yes.
And so don't think that you can't do something because the resources aren't there. It is possible.
Absolutely.
It's just sometimes takes a little work. If you want to do something really, if you want an outdoor learning area like you have there, Aim, then well, you're gonna have to write a grant to do something like that. You're right. You can't just go out and poof have it. If that was possible, then my money tree would be going in overtime. Yeah. I've not been able to grow one. I've looked at all kinds of nurseries. Can't seem to find a good money tree. Anyone has a start from a money tree, let me know. Wouldn't mind getting a start of that in my garden.
We used to plant pennies at school because we had a book that was part of our reading curriculum that was called The Penny Tree. And it was about these kids who planted a penny, and then they were going to go to, it grew all this money. And so the kids had a big misconception about where money came from, that it was, that they just all agreed that if you planted that penny, it was going to grow. So we would plant a penny and then we planted a bean or something. And so they could see that the penny never did anything, so they were like, oh, well, maybe that's not, maybe that's a fiction book.
Well,
Yes.
that's a good way to introduce the concept of fiction, though.
It is.
Yeah, it was. And so they were really disturbed because they had plans for all those pennies.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a little older, like in high school, you could teach them fiction by opening up Facebook.
Yeah. Correct.
Yes.
90% of what you see here is going to be fiction. Are you ready? Boom. Open up Facebook or pretty much any social media. So, all right. Well, there's a few ideas there to get you thinking at the end of the year here about next year, and hopefully help you make it a little bit smoother year.
Yeah.
Thanks for hanging out with us in our virtual lounge.
Please like, download, and subscribe, and share the love.
Oh, I was going to say share the love.
Find us on Facebook,
Twitter, YouTube,
and follow us everywhere.
just not in a creeper way.